Yeah, we just prepare for the game. I think by now our players are pretty well aware of where we're at and what we're doing, and we try to focus on what we need to do to win the game, which is not too dissimilar, to the entire season. And so I think what players need right now is normalcy. I think when telling them these at-bats mean more is probably not going to be productive. And so, the room's great. I mean, our guys understand. I mean, listen, we've been in elimination games before, and we hope to be in one tomorrow or Friday. And so I think, creating an environment where guys know what to expect here, and there's an excitement, there is an anticipation, there's probably good that we're playing at 3 o'clock, and getting out on the field and getting to the game because, everybody knows what's at stake. But as far as preparing for Bryce Miller or their bullpen or their lineup, which even by now in Game 4, there aren't a ton of secrets between these two teams either. I mean, when we were in Cleveland, it's because we play them so many times. You're around a team, over the course of the last 4 or 5 days, like we are against Seattle. Not a lot of secrets here either. So we'll be ready to play.
AJ, for Bryce Miller today, what are going to be some of the keys against him? He's had success against you guys in the past, but that was in the past.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different team than he's faced. We didn't face him. We don't have a ton of at-bats on him. He has had some success against our organization. Not all of these players have been here for that. But it's all about his fastball. I think when he, locates his fastball, he creates a ton of pressure on the hitter to have to deal with that. And he's got a couple of different secondary pitches. But they, very similar to a lot of the pitchers that we face against Seattle, there's good stuff. They pitch to certain parts of the zone. They make you respect the fastball. And it doesn't mean they throw it all the time, but once you respect it, then that gets you a little bit in between, some of their pitches. So, he's had a year that has been up and down. He certainly has better stuff than his season numbers indicate, and you have to attack him by being ready to hit, specifically early in the count. And that in a game like this, zone control is going to be really key. And I know it's like I sound like a broken record because that's been our conversation this entire season. But the team that wins the zone is the team that wins the game.
AJ, there's a little bit of debate about Zach McKinstry's role in the third inning play yesterday. As the cutoff man, did he play that correctly?
Well, I think he should cut it. And I know he's he talked to you guys about letting the ball go unless the runner at first goes to second. But the fundamental play would be to stop the play when there's no more action. So I understand, where he was positioned, how it was difficult to cut it. I understand that play, he's having to look at two different places at the same time. But the way that play developed, certainly from my angle, it's like, Riley, get the ball to the infield, cut the ball if you can. If you can't, Dillon's got to block it. So there were a few breakdowns on that play, but if Zach was in position to cut it, I think he should cut it, and I think he would if he would have been a little bit closer, but it's not how it worked out.
AJ, for Tarek, has he thrown his bullpen yet? And then any chance he's available today? Are you guys looking to Game 5 for him?
No, Tarek's going to start Game 5. Yeah, I know. He's done his normal prep as he would. To be prepared for an all-in Game 5.
AJ, when Casey's on his game, what do you look for to know that he's the best version?
I think he's first off, he's going to be incredibly prepared. He's a student of the game. He's watched all these games to get to this point. He's had a couple different sessions on the mound to get him physically ready for this outing. And what I look for Casey is conviction and execution of the fastball, which everything plays off of. Now he may see it as a slider being super important for him, or he could use the split quite a bit. But I think with Casey, everything feeds off the fastball. Not always velo, but velo is helpful to him. He is a guy who has high standards, demands excellent execution out of himself. And so his demeanor, his ability to execute the fastball to multiple areas of the zone are going to be important because everything feeds off of that. When he has a powerful fastball with conviction, hitters take some pretty funny swings on his split and on his slider and the sweeping breaking ball that he has as well. So obviously looking for a big performance out of him. Getting into the game is super important when you have all these emotions that come into the game. And the guy that handles those emotions as even-keeled as any of our guys is Casey Mize, and it's nice to have the ball in his hand.
AJ, I know, this being a potential elimination game, you have to manage aggressively, especially with the bullpen.
Yeah.
But in that vein, how much does having Tarek lined up for Game 5 plus that off day leading in help you manage your bullpen?
Yeah, well, I think it helps optimism for one. I think sometimes in these series with momentum swings, we win Game 1, we're going to win the series, right? Like that's how it feels. You lose a game and all of a sudden they're back in it. You lose another game and they're in complete control. When in reality, today's game is the only game that matters. Now having Tarek Skubal there gives us optimism and probably gives them a little bit of concern. But there's a lot of baseball to be played before we've earned the right to give Tarek the ball again. So, as far as managing the game, it's all hands on deck. And if you watch any of these playoff games, you'll see decisions that are made fast because of the magnitude of the moment and the importance of stopping fires when they're out. And so our entire bullpen's up and available, and so is theirs, despite them using a lot of their back end guys a lot, and the same with us. Not just because it's a win or go home, they're going to use their pen as aggressively as we are because you play to win the game. Yep, you got it.
What's up, guys? Start with Dillon Dingler. Start with Jeff in the back.
How you doing?
Good.
You guys were in a very similar situation just a few days ago. What did you learn from that game in Cleveland, and what can you take from it?
Yeah. Obviously, being an elimination game, everything's at stake, everything's on the line. So I was saying this after the game yesterday. We're gonna have the energy, we're gonna have the focus that it takes. Everybody's looking forward to it, and we're going to come out.
Dillon, you're kind of in uncharted water here in terms of the length of the season, the grind, and the magnitude of the games that you're playing in this late. How is your body held up? How are you feeling leg-wise? And is it kind of a testament to your workout regimen in the off-season that got you here?
Yeah. Obviously, you don't feel all that fresh at this point in the year, but you feel good enough. And a lot of the times, the adrenaline and the magnitude of the games kind of drives you through. And so, like during the game, I'll feel money. I'll feel as good as I'll ever feel. But yeah, we do. Our organization does a great job of getting us to this point physically. We have great strength and athletic training staff, and everybody's good. Everybody's up for the task.
Dillon, I see you got a Ohio State teammate on the other side for this series, and you've been able to visit with him at home plate a few times. Have you been able to visit with him outside of that, and what can you tell us about him?
Yeah, no, Dom's a great guy. I played with him for 2 years, and we haven't been able to get with each other outside. Obviously, there's a bunch going on, and I'm sure he has family in town because he's from Cleveland as well. So I'm sure he's meeting up with family. He's probably got a lot of family in town, but. Yeah, I love playing against Dom. Love seeing him again. It's been a while since I've been able to see him, so it's always fun playing against a guy that you played with.
Dillon, after yesterday, the tough reality is you guys haven't won here at home in over a month. Does it get to the point where that just becomes its own pressure in itself?
No, none of us are thinking about that. Obviously, that's the narrative right now. We hear it enough, but I don't think that was in any of our minds yesterday when we came back home. We were excited to finally be back home. We've been on a two week road stand, so it was nice to finally come home. But all that goes out the window. We'll be ready to play today. We'll be ready to play in front of the fans, and it's going to be exciting.
From game planning against the Mariners for a week or so now, what distinguishes them? What makes them a difficult offense?
Yeah, they got a lot of good players, and they got a lot better too at the deadline. They added some thump, especially with Gino coming over. But yeah, it's just they have a complete lineup, and like everybody too, they have weaknesses, and we try to stick to our game plan. Like I said, I give props to our pitching staff and our game planning. Everybody who's involved. We have a really good staff as well, and I feel like we've done a pretty good job. Obviously, yesterday kind of got away from us, but other than that, I like our pitchers. I like our plan.
Dylan, just what difference have you seen in Casey over his past few starts compared to where he was at, maybe earlier in the second half?
Yeah, I love working with Case. He's got the intensity. He's got the he's a big game pitcher. You saw it in New York. You saw it at Fenway. I feel like he always rises to the occasion. He has great feel for all of his stuff, and we're really confident with him today.
Dylan, knowing Tarek is lined up for Game 5, how much does that kind of provide an added boost for you guys going into Game 4? It's like, if you can win this game, you've got your guy lined up for a winner-take-all.
Yeah, no, obviously we're very excited for that situation, but at the same time we got to get there. We got to get there, which means we got to take care of business today. We got to, put our best foot forward today. Make sure we have all the energy in the dugout. Have good at-bats, play good defense, have good pitching today. So that's going to be a really good feeling after we win the game today.
And getting back to Dom real quick, were you guys in the same outfield? Was that during your time when you were playing center field at Ohio State? And how much did he kind of help you get used to that in college ball?
Yeah, I completely forgot about that, not going to lie. But, yeah, that was funny. Yeah, he was the right fielder. And, yeah, he helped out. He helped out for sure. And that's actually really funny. I didn't even think about that. But, yeah, it's really cool.
Anything else for Dylan? Going back right?
Hey Dylan, how would you rate the atmosphere of Detroit last night?
No, it's good. Obviously, a lot of people showed up. Hopefully, same thing happens today. I know people will show up, and hopefully it gets loud. We thrive off the atmosphere, and I know being a visitor in a electric stadium, it does create a lot of anxiety or a lot of pressure for the opposing team. So I just hope that everybody's loud. Everybody's cheering pretty hard.
Talking with Tarek after Game 1, he had noted your reputation for low line drive throws to second base and how you kind of have to have your head on a swivel there. Has that always been your style of throws? And how much do you warn pitchers like, hey, be alert because if a guy's going, it might be coming in pretty hot?
Yeah, I advise pitchers to please get off the mound because I've hit two now. One was Shelby last year on a rehab assignment, and that one didn't feel too good. So it's just I have to work downhill in order to get my best throws off, and so sometimes they don't. It doesn't make it over their head. So I would need them to get off the mound, but it's just one of those things, But in order for me to, throw my best, I need to have that downhill feel.